The only difference is, and we talked about him before we went to break, Brock Purdy. What's he going to do in this moment? He's had 2 road games, at Seattle on a Thursday night, at Las Vegas. And they spoke this week about how they used the Seattle game as a way to prepare for what they thought was an eventual trip to Philadelphia in the NFC Championship. They knew where it was tracking. They knew where it was going. But that's all he's got. That and whatever they managed to do in practice, pumping in music. But you still got to walk out there. And maybe Kyle Shanahan needs to channel Bill Walsh, as you were discussing earlier, to get in the right mindset, to go into that scenario, that setting, hear those fans, and stay calm and poised in the moment. Brock Purdy's done nothing to make us think he won't, but he's never played in a game with these stakes in this spot. That's what's fascinating to me. What is he going to do with the season riding, not completely on him, obviously, because they have those great weapons, but still, he's got to perform or it's going to fall apart for the 49ers.
Yeah, look, I don't know how he's going to play, Mike, but we've said this all along that Brock Purdy hasn't done this. He hasn't faced this kind of pressure, all this kind of stuff. And every single week, every one, even last week, and obviously the first half of that game, he is getting chased all over creation. And it's really difficult for him to even breathe, against the Dallas Cowboys. But every single week, every one, he has responded. And he has come up, relatively speaking, big, especially when it's absolutely needed. He made 2 or 3 throws in the second half against the Cowboys that everybody's, woof. Did you see that ball? That was perfect. And so that's why I honestly think, and I asked him after the game, I spent 5-8 minutes with him after the game at Levi's the other day, and I said to him, in essence, you're going up against, this is quite possibly, and you played in Seattle, but this is maybe the toughest place right now to play. The invective you're going to hear, the noise, everything like that. He basically said, hey, looking forward to it, blah, 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 blah. And he did remind me that he has played in Austin, Texas in front of 100,000 people and in Norman, Oklahoma in front of 90,000 and whatever else. As I said before, 48 starts in a Power 5 conference, 29-19, and played so well and was such a difference maker that before senior day, his last home game, Mike, the head coach at Iowa State, Matt Campbell, read to his team and passed out a poem called The Bridge Builder. And I asked him why. I talked to Matt Campbell last week, and I asked him why, and he goes, because Brock Purdy built a bridge for this program from where we're struggling all the time to try to make something happen to a program that we know we can be in the top 20 consistently. And that was one person who did that, and it was Brock Purdy. So, and again, I'm not saying all that makes a hill of beans difference really when he's got a relentless pass rush coming after him on Sunday. It might not mean a lot. I can just tell you that he's not going to be scared.
Well, and I looked up his date of birth, December 27, 1999, which, number one, makes me feel really old. But number two, it makes me think of how at age 23, any of us would process this moment. And I think the biggest challenge this week is to refrain from thinking about what this means for his football career, what pulling this off would accomplish. If he wins this game, there's no Tom Brady talk next year in San Francisco. Trey Lance isn't the starter next year. Now, look, he could have a 6-turnover meltdown in the Super Bowl, which could cause the 49ers to reassess. But you propel this team to the Super Bowl when you basically were thrust into action. Not basically, you were. And you won every single game. you're setting yourself up to be an NFL quarterback for years to come. It's all, and it's hard not to think about that if you're 23, but maybe that's part of the beauty of being oblivious, of being young, of not thinking about it, just going out and doing it. And that's what he's done. He's just gone out and done it. So don't change a thing, but the stakes are higher. It's Philadelphia. The defense is as good as any as they faced all year. And, the other side of the coin, Peter, the Eagles offense and the 49ers defense, because that's really the key. How many points does Brock Purdy need to engineer? How many points can the 49ers defense keep the Eagles from scoring? What do you think the biggest challenge for the San Francisco defense is going to be against the Philadelphia offense?
I think it's going to be to monitor Jalen Hurts and to make sure that his legs do not beat them, because he's going to make some great throws in this game. Mike, did you see last week? And look, he told me after the game, without any question, you can just tell that he absolutely unequivocally, he's not whole. He's not in perfect health. His arm doesn't feel great. He told me after the game, I said, that throw you made, 45 yards in the air, 40 yards to Devontae Smith, absolutely perfect, right on target on the second play of the game. And we were talking about it after the game, and I said, how many times have you made a throw like that deep in practice since you hurt your shoulder? He goes, I haven't. I said, 0 throws to this point that you've thrown really downfield, not just dump offs or intermediate. No, I have not made one of those throws. What did you prove to yourself? Well, nothing. I knew I could do it, all that stuff. But Mike, his arm isn't perfect, but just look, he hadn't made that throw in 6 or 7 weeks, and he made the throw and it was perfect. So my only point is, he's going to make some great throws in this game. And he has 2 outstanding wide receivers and an excellent tight end, in Dallas Goedert. And so he's going to make some throws. The question is this linebacker group, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw especially, are they going to be able to basically keep him from, converting 4 third downs with his legs? That is going to be a huge factor in this game.
Absolutely, and it will be a great one, hopefully. Both will be great games, hopefully. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.